Welcome once again to our devotion from William J. We are looking at the book of John, chapter 16, verse 32, where Jesus says, "And you will leave me alone, yet I am not alone, for the Father is with me." William J. writes, Jesus answered them, "Do you believe? Behold, the hour is coming, indeed it has come, when you will be scattered, each to his own home, and will leave me alone. Yet I am not alone, for the Father is with me." There is a relationship between Christ and Christians, and because we are being conformed to his image and thinking, and because we are under him, Christians may adopt this kind of language as their own. There are cases in which Christians may be alone, and there are cases in which they ought to be alone, and there is one case in which they must be alone. And yet they are not alone because the Father is with them. They may be alone in this life because of God's design. By death, lover and friend may be placed far from them, and their friendship into darkness. And bereavements may force from loneliness the sigh, "I lie awake, I am like a lonely sparrow on a housetop." Psalm 102:7. Also, Christians have often been driven out of society by the wickedness of power. Their connections have abandoned them through deceitfulness or deserted them through illness. And this is no small trial. Our Savior felt the desertion of his disciples and said, "I looked for some to take pity, and there were none, and for the Comforter, and found none." Psalm 69:20. But looking upward he said, "I am not alone, for the Father is with me." Joseph was separated from his family and sold into Egypt, but the Lord was with Joseph. John was banished into the Isle of Patmos, but there he had visions of the Almighty, and was in the Spirit on the Lord's day. "At my first defense," says Paul, "no one came to stand by me, but all deserted me. But the Lord stood by me and strengthened me. Yes, whoever dies, the Lord lives. Whoever fails us, he is firm. He is faithful that has promised. He has said, 'I will never leave you, nor forsake you.'" At times Christians ought to be alone, in voluntary solitude. Not that they are to become recluses by abandoning their duties in life and shunning interactions with other people. The Christian life is a candle, but a candle is not to be placed under a bushel, but on a candlestick, that it may give light to all that are in the house. And our light is to shine before men, and they are to see our good works and glorify our Father who is in heaven. But occasional and frequent withdrawal from others for religious purposes is a duty, and it will be found to be advantageous to us. We shall never be less alone than when we are alone. "Go forth," says God to Ezekiel, "into the field, and there I will talk with you." Isaac, in the evening, was meditating in the field when the Lord brought him Rebekah. Jacob was left alone when he obtained power with God and with man, and prevailed. Nathanael was seen and encouraged under a fig tree. Peter was by himself praying upon the housetop when he received the divine manifestation. If the 12 patriarchs or the 12 apostles lived near us, and their local presence distracted us from private prayer, their closeness would actually harm us. No man or group of men can be a substitute for God, and it is when we are alone with God we hold the freest and fullest communications with him. It is there the secret of the Lord is with us, and he shows us his great and unbreakable promises. There we become acquainted with ourselves. There we shake off the influences of the world. It is good to be there. Men may live in a crowd, but they must die alone. Friends and ministers can only accompany us to the entrance of the passage. None of them can speak from experience and tell us what it's like to die. And it is a way that we have never gone ourselves. But the Christian, though alone, is not alone even here. "Yes," says David, "though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and staff comfort me." Death is a melancholy day to those who have no God. But how death must be softened and cheered to those who have the Lord. Oh, to have a God, the God of all grace at hand, a very present help in the time of trouble, laying underneath his everlasting arms, shedding around the light of his countenance, communicating the joy of his salvation, and ensuring the glory to be revealed in ways beyond all our present experience and thought. O my God, in times that I am afraid I will trust you. You have held me by my right hand. You shall guide me with your counsel, and afterward receive me into glory. Whom have I in heaven but you? And there is none upon the earth that I desire beside you. My flesh and my heart fails, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. Thanks for listening. You can find many more articles, recorded books, booklets, sermons, and devotions, all from famous preachers and teachers of the past, on YouTube, the web, or Apple Podcasts by entering Cherish Ephesians 6:4 in the search bar.